hope it fits, right? And we did it with 2 minutes to spare on our time allowance. Yeah. So we're now back on average. Oh dear.
At the next time control, the Australian John Bryson with the Holden is not hanging around. There's the Cortina that was once in the lead and the Ford Coupe that wants to be. Somehow, in front of them all is the Jeep again, with the Ford behind and a blind bend in front. Surely he's not going to on a blind bend, but he is, and he has. Madness. Here come the Chelsea girls and Brigadier Jessen. Watch out for the pothole ahead, folks.
There's a big clunk. I just went through a pothole right there, and I'm not sure what's happened. So, a quick look.
Great, no.
I have to have a look and see, make sure there's nothing.
What happened, Squidgy?
All attached on the front. Let's check the back. Everything appears to be attached on the back, but we just hit that one pothole. I didn't like that at all.
Are you on time?
2 minutes to go.
Good job I was pushing you then.
Across the road, the Rolls-Royce that used to carry the Queen in Australia.
Where do you think you're running?
Oh gosh, about third last. I don't know, I really am not interested in the position. I'm just enjoying the scenery, making sure we don't break the car down. I'm not in here for the race.
Did it go well today?
Yeah, very well. It's been spectacular scenery. It's been lovely.
Bit big going around the corners, weren't you?
Yeah, well that's why you've got to take it a little slowly around the corners. She does loll around a bit. She likes the long roads. But we did it. We got here with 3 minutes to spare, so there was a really good balance between not thrashing the car, not wrecking the brakes, and getting here on time.
That car's had loads of trouble, and they've handled it.
Yeah, you're
No,
very
the
lucky,
should be
Greg.
coming.
Yeah, we
You're very lucky, Greg.
Okay,
Kindly.
thanks,
Bye
Mike.
for now.
Right,
It's
yeah,
not
bye.
just luck.
I think what has been important or what has been good about this trip is the tenacity of a lot of these chaps, especially the ones who have broken down and had these so-called adventures. Bloody hell. They've nearly been out of it, but they stuck at it. I think a lot, it's a lot to do with, a lot of them are businessmen, top dogs in business, and they don't just give up. And I think it's been good to see how they've put up with adversity sometimes, and to get parts, get the vehicles on the back of a wagon, back off to Beijing and back again. It's been bloody amazing how they've done it.
One of the most tenacious, just getting towed for the 1000th time, is David Arrigo from Malta in his Allard. He's usually been days behind the rest of us, always struggling to keep the car going at all.
Last night, yesterday, just before the Turkish border, the Greek border, the dynamo packed up. It just caught fire. It had enough. It was tired. And we had a spare, but that was in another vehicle. We changed that, and we got rid of our electric fuel pumps. This is why we're having a little problem right now, because we've got no electric fuel pumps. We're running on manual pumps. And the determination is that we want to be in Paris with this car, with all the others in the Place de la Concorde next Saturday.
In the evening, we're by the Mediterranean, and David and Angela are having an early night.
I think Dave is an absolutely
wonderful driver. I think that it's been really, really good. I thought that when we did all those really tight sections with hill climbs and get off, that I'd be scared that when we were shooting round bends on the top of mountains that it would be really, really frightening. But in fact, I loved it. Totally exhilarating.
Day 38 starts with a cool Mediterranean morning and the mad motorists intent on keeping their cars going for 5 more days to Paris. In a corner of the car park, there's a new arrival.
This car did not start from Beijing. Its owner started in another car, a Stutz, and they dropped out somewhere back in China. And they've rejoined the rally now just for the closing stages. Now, it's an interesting measure of how strongly people feel about having come through this as a group and survived it all and been through it, that when this car came back to rejoin, they put on the rally stickers, and they've actually been forced to black them out because they're not regarded as being a serious and genuine part of the rally. They haven't done the whole thing.
It was really a tough day yesterday, and the pity about it is that I don't see anything about the scenery. I haven't seen something about the monastery. I haven't seen something about the mountains or whatever. It was just too difficult.
All you see is this on the road ahead.
This is all I see, and luckily for me, the car is running absolutely fabulous. The engine is doing great. I have no problems with Magneto anymore, so I'm a happy guy. Except it's not a tourist ride. You know, it's a challenge.
In one car, David is flirting with a German girl right under his wife's mother's nose.
Good luck.
Oh, I thought you were stopping there.
No, I say my father is worried when I don't try.
Oh, I'll bet he does. He doesn't worry when you're talking to Duncan, does he? Eh?
Yeah.
I think you've got a soft spot for Duncan.
A what?
A soft spot. No, you know what I mean? A bog in the backyard. Sylvie,
Prefer to go.
we're only having a bit of fun. See you later. Come on, Ellen, now. We've got to get off. And you're mucking about again.
For heaven's sakes, don't start the day by telling me off.
Off to the nearest garage for the BMW. It's sick today, and so is Jennifer.
We decided in Greece we should do the ouzo and the frisch because that's what you do in Greece, and now I think maybe we should have just done the Diet Coke and bed.
Describe how you're feeling, Jennifer.
I don't feel like describing anything to make me feel worse, thank you.
The worst thing is I think today's road is a bit lurchy and bumpy again, which if you're not feeling too well would be ugh.
What have you taken for it?
Nothing. I think I'm going to be sick. I'd rather just be sick with water.
Stoicism.
I don't know yet. I'll tell you later on.
We're on the road again near Mount Parnassus. Everyone's battling to get to Paris. It's still the Jeep that's leading, but if Fingersville slips up or has to stop for that clutch, the Americans are waiting to pounce. 90 years ago, when the original mad motorists roared past, their cars were the future. What are ours? 90 years from now, will there still be cars? Or will there be something more efficient and less romantic? Is this part of the final flourish of the automobile? In Gordon the Volvo, it's one of those bad tummy days for loosening your belt, sitting very still and hoping for the best.
And we're heading towards Mount Parnassus. You can see there in the mist over there. Jennifer's got food poisoning and is feeling absolutely appalling. And now I'm beginning to feel ill, and I think it's just a sympathy vote because I know there's nothing wrong with me at all. So why I feel sick is ridiculous.
To qualify for a gold medal, you have to do the whole journey on time and in your car. But because Jennifer is so sick, their Italian friends offered to take her in their car today where she could lie down.
They can't understand that to us now, getting that gold medal is about the only thing left that we can achieve from this rally, apart from the obvious, which is finishing in Paris. So we have to try. And Jennifer said the only way that she would not be in the car is if she would have to be flown home.
Hang in there, Jennifer. Only 5 more days to go. Five days to go to Paris, and by tonight we should be out of Greece and on a ferry. David Bull is getting impatient with Linda, an American driving the Red Hillman.
So come on, Linda, now.
Just telling Dave he's not going to be Linda's favourite man now.
Has he scooted past her?
Yes, he just pushed in like a real shocker.
See, the people, the Greek people, they should be pulling back or getting into the side and let somebody get in. And now it shouldn't be sat there either.
Why shouldn't they? They've got their place that they're going to hang on to. There's no hurry.
Ali.
Is there any hurry?
Is help coming? Come on, Howard. Come on, lad. Go for it, boy. See if they go first. They get in before us.
Well, of course they'll get in.
Well, they do, don't they?
That's Howard speeding as David told him to in the brutish 5-litre Camaro. It's beginning to have clutch trouble, and anyway, it's not his favourite car. He'd rather have brought a much older brute, a 4.5-litre Bentley, like this one. But apparently there were already 3 of these magnificent machines entered, and that was deemed enough. By our standards, 1 minute passing through a village counts as sightseeing. As the Chelsea girls drive in, they pause to let a truck through, and maybe they dream of actually stopping for a coffee. They can't, but Greece is speaking to them. Byron said, "If I am a poet, I owe it to Greece," and they feel what he meant.
Very pretty though. I'm definitely coming back to Greece for my next holiday. My husband doesn't know this yet.
Someone's asked a question that we tend not to think about. What is the significance of our journey? It's put Jennifer to sleep, but it's got Francesca wondering.
So it all depends what you consider significant. But if you consider looking at our speedo now, we've been nearly 15,000 kilometres and we've only got 3 to go. I'd say there's some significance in that. I'm just not quite sure what it is. This area from the Corinth Canal heading north to Patras is absolutely beautiful. No other word for it. It almost looks like a film set.
It's the Corinth Canal, and there's a ship right under us.
No, that was it. I missed it.
That's the
I'm
one.
getting very excited now.
There are people swimming back there.
Now it's very warm.
Not just all the
Gate
water
7.
is.
That could be our boat.
The ferry is going to take us across to Italy. A popular plan because no one's keen to drive there through Bosnia and Kosovo. While the rally waits to board here at Patras, our stragglers can catch up. Brigadier General Jessen limps in and is met by the rally director.
Hiya! What's your problem then?
I have no problem.
No problem.
I have no bearings. That's the problem.
You have no problems, but the engine's run the bearings.
Yeah, let's demonstrate here. Start.
No oil pressure. Well done.
Normally, this would be 40 now.
So what are you going to do? Put thick gear oil in it and try and limp it to Paris?
Yes, we will put a mix of beer and that should
bananas and oil rags?
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
they have to be green bananas.
Must be green.
The yellow ones are too soft for these things. That's an old trick, Bentley circles. And apart from that, there's 5 years warranty on Bentleys, so we can continue on the good name for some time until.
Oh, it's still under guarantee, is it?
Yes.
Mm.
Now here's a real straggler. Hermann the German and his 90-year-old car haven't been seen since China. In the first snows there, before he ever got to the Himalayas, Hermann was knocked out by pneumonia. But now he's joining us for the final leg. He's back with the mad motorists.
So can I please have a cigar and a beer now?
Yeah?
Okay.
Got a cigar?
Yeah, in the back. But no beer. The wine cellar is empty.
Buy your beer on the boat.
So far so good.
Hermann, with his crazy car, certainly qualifies as mad. And the Danish brigadier? He's just more British than the British Raj and more prepared than a brigade of Boy Scouts.
You take a shower cap off, you put some loo paper in and make it wet, and that keeps the cigars when you travel at appropriate moist. And then not cut your fingers but the cigar, right?
In the television commercials, the moment you light this, all your problems disappear. Isn't that right?
I have another little thing. I have animals I bring to Italy. Can you hear them? Crickets. Imported from China.
Oh, very nice to see you back.
Oh, thanks.
How are you?
Good so far.
Completely recovered?
No, 90%.
Uh-huh.
But it's like every time. Driver is the weak point of the team. But as I heard from the others, Himalaya was very, very hard. So I'm not sure. I think the doctor did the right decision to throw me out because.
What actually happened to you on that last day of driving? We heard you disappeared into a tent or something.
On this car you don't feel anything. Up it's too late. You don't feel hungry, you don't feel thirsty. If you stop and there's something to eat, you eat like hell because then you are hungry. And same was with cold. We got colder and colder, and up to I felt, wow, is this cold? It was very late and I stumbled in a shepherd's tent to get my clothing on, pullovers and stuff. And there I fell down. I was out of control. And strange was when they took me out of the tent, the shepherd left hand and right hand and rubbing me warm. They gave me oxygen because they thought I'm high sickness and oxygen didn't make it better, so it was extremely cold. I never had an adventure like this. Probably if we would have to do it in this way, we would need a windscreen. And Borghese did it in this way in 60 days. For me, it's unbelievable. Now I know where my frontiers are.
The BMW has got here just.
What's gone wrong with the little BMW?
Now, today, yeah, they fall a screw into where there's a differential, and so we had the problem to take it out. But it took just 2 hours, so.
So the screw dropped in?
No, not really, but it might have dropped in if we have driven the car.
So is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah? No problem?
No.
How are you feeling?
Fine, yes.
How long have you been driving for? How many days?
I arrived in Kathmandu. I don't know how many days. I don't know.
How many days does it feel like?
Just a week. No, like, I don't know. Lots of days.
Are you still enjoying yourself?
Yeah, of course. There were some days that I didn't like in Pakistan. It was not funny. But
yeah. What?
If somebody would have asked me whether I would like to go home, I would go on with the car.
We're on the ferry, Patras to Ancona. A couple of hours more to go of a 20-hour journey. But the real turn-up for the books is this.
What do you mean?
This is Phil having some enforced leisure. The whole trip. I haven't seen Phil do anything except work and drive. And look, what is this?
Getting beaten now.
Down below in the cabin, the girls have a tale to tell.
The story begins in China, 2 days after the beginning of the rally, when Francesca, who is as regular as clockwork for the whole of her, well, I don't know what to put it now.
Since teenage years.
Since teenage years. Missed one and knew something was awry. However, we both immediately put it down to stress. That was fine, and ignored it and carried on. However, in the west of Pakistan, she started to feel ill, and we both looked at each other and wondered if there was a third person in Gordon. So, consultation with the doctor. He told her to stop taking the malaria pills immediately and to eat nutritiously, whereupon both of us laughed as we were eating unleavened bread, and that was probably about it, with some water. Francesca received this, and she's going to use it just to see what is going on.
All I'd like to say is, if there is a third person with us in Gordon, Philip Young's not getting the supplementary money for it. Right then, well, I'm just off to read the instructions and do whatever it is you have to do.
Okay, well, we'll just have a look at this tape and then let you know later.
I'm throwing all the doubles now, right? Oh, yeah. Bismillah. Hey, you see? It works every time. Alhamdulillah. 2, 3.
Whoa! Roger's in the loo at the moment using the clear blue. I'm going to keep this trained on the door so that we can hear any shrieking or whatever. 5 minutes later.
Right then.
10 minutes later. Well,
1 minute later.
1 minute later.
Let me have a quick look and see what it should
Oh,
do.
for God's sake!
I'm
I
just
can't.
checking. It says, if there is a line in the square, you are pregnant.
Let's have a look at it.
I'd say
Oh my God!
that's about as conclusive as you could get.
Bloody hell!
Francesca's husband, Doug, is at home in England.
So there we are. Family, viewers, and Mr. Pitsy. The selling point of your video, a home video from hell.
And I'm very honoured to be the first to know. Sorry, Doug.
But there we go.
It's just the way it is.
Now the crew of 3 will try to get Gordon to Paris on time.
Oh Lord. Better make sure she has a safety belt on now. Properly.
Better stop drinking.
Towards dusk, the ship is approaching the Italian coast at Ancona. It's been a good break. For the man who wouldn't quit when his car died in China, the one who's come all the way thumbing lifts, Lord Montague, it must have been quite a trip. Only 4 more countries ahead, and if Montague's plans work out, he'll be travelling in style now. We're on Italian soil. There are other Italians to talk to Roberto. While the Packard was rolling off, a British long-distance lorry driver asked where we'd come from. Peking, I told him. He said, I don't believe it. It has been a long way. Two of the Land Rovers disembark, utterly boring but wonderfully reliable. And then it's a short drive to dinner in Rimini. Good Italian food, happy mad motorist chatter. No time for coffee for Phil Bowen and Rosie. They've got a date down below.
We had a nice dinner. There were waiters and bottles of wine. It's like being back in the real world. But hey presto, we're transported back to the garage. It's 1:30 in the morning and we're changing both the rear wheel bearings. Dan's very kindly helping.
Shouldn't be any play in it at all. I could actually move it dunk, 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 this way like this. Probably I reckon a long way. So anyway, we've had loads of people come down to see us. They've all gone to bed now.
I wish.
For Lord Montague, carless for the last 6 weeks, yet with a museum full of the world's finest cars at home, a plan has worked out.
Can you explain what's going on?
Well, after weeks of not having a car, having broken down in China, as you know, the 4.5 blow Bentley came out from the museum to meet me in Rimini. So for the last 2 days I'm going to have my own car, which is a great joy, having been hitchhiking in, I think, 15 different vehicles since I broke down in China.
It appears that you might be entitled to wear the rally badge, but the car probably isn't, is that right?
I think that's perfectly true, yes. I certainly don't feel I'm cheating in any way, because other people brought other cars out, but of course I'm not part of the proper competition anymore, but I'll be driving in Paris with everybody else.
The old racetrack rival of Bentleys like Lord Montague's, the 1928 Bugatti, points north towards San Marino, Austria, Germany and France.
Right, here we go.
Our oldest surviving car, the 1927 Mercedes, doesn't seem to be going anywhere. For 9,000 miles, Robert Dean has nursed its troublesome magneto, and now it's sick again.
Without that, we don't move anywhere. That's it. End. Game over. How long does it take to get something from Germany down here? So we did have another magneto, which we converted to run on twin coils. But in the name of weight saving, Etienne's given it to somebody to carry, and I think they've left. So now I can't even do that. So one way or another, it's looking a bit terminal. Never mind. As Levick says, something will turn up.
The first stop is in the mini republic of San Marino. When we're so close to Paris, to have to drop out of the reckoning would be miserable. But for the big Mercedes, it could happen. And for David Bull's Rover.
Well, I'm back in the Slough Despond today. I've got a serious noise coming from, I think it's from a rear wheel bearing on the near side. So we're down to about 30-40 mile an hour coming from Rimini last night. We got in good time, but the noise is there, it's grating all the time. So I'm going to have to take it steady today and keep my fingers crossed.
Hi, Rod. Bye. Boyd, I'd like you to meet Adam's new girlfriend. It's called Samantha. Yeah, I've got the rights.
Look out, it's the Bentley boys.